Every single car company in the world, not just Ford, is losing money selling electric vehicles, except for Tesla.
Dealerships are on the brink of collapse. The automotive world is in chaos as dealerships across the United States face an unprecedented wave of closures.
Tampa car dealership abruptly closed its doors today, leaving already frustrated customers wondering what to do next.
Over 80 franchise dealerships have shut their doors in just 1 year, with hundreds more on the brink.
Nearly 800 dealerships that they will be closing their showrooms next month.
But why are iconic dealerships closing their doors? What does this mean for car buyers? And how can you take advantage of this seismic shift in the market? What's happening? The current state of dealership lots is nothing short of alarming. Across the United States, rows of unsold vehicles spanning multiple model years are becoming the new norm. 2023 and 2024 models remain stagnant as the 2025 lineups begin arriving. This unprecedented buildup of inventory has placed dealerships in an impossible position where maintaining financial stability feels increasingly out of reach. Overproduction lies at the heart of this dilemma. In an attempt to rebound from supply chain disruptions during the pandemic, automakers aggressively ramped up production. Unfortunately, this effort collided with a reduced demand from buyers, resulting in dealerships being inundated with excess stock. This surplus of vehicles is compounded by floor plan financing costs, a critical financial burden for dealerships. Think of each unsold vehicle as accruing monthly interest, much like a balance on a credit card. As cars linger unsold, dealerships face mounting financial losses. The longer these vehicles sit idle, the more their profit margins erode, forcing dealerships to offer steep discounts just to move inventory. Some discounts reach as much as $15,000 to $20,000 below the manufacturer's suggested retail price. An unsustainable financial reality. Economic strain on buyers. On the consumer side, the picture is equally grim. Since 2019, the average manufacturer's suggested retail price for vehicles has surged by 42%. Meanwhile, average household income has only increased by 34%, creating a significant gap that leaves many potential buyers unable to afford new cars. Inflation has further exacerbated this disparity. The rising costs of housing, groceries, and insurance have left households with little disposable income. Coupled with higher interest rates on auto loans, the affordability crisis has reached a breaking point. Today, the average monthly payment for a new vehicle is over $760. Alarmingly, 1 in 6 auto loans now exceeds $1,000 per month, making car ownership feel out of reach for many Americans. This financial strain is forcing consumers to reconsider their spending priorities. For families struggling to manage increasing living costs, the idea of taking on a hefty car payment often becomes impossible to justify. As a result, fewer buyers are entering dealership showrooms, further compounding the overstocked inventory crisis. The shift in consumer habits. Amid these economic pressures, consumers are finding alternative ways to navigate the automotive market. The rising cost of new vehicles has led many buyers to prioritize used cars, which offer a more budget-friendly option. Additionally, vehicle ownership periods have extended significantly. What used to be a typical 3 to 5 year ownership cycle has now stretched to 5 to 7 years or longer. This shift towards prolonged ownership has fundamentally changed the dynamics of the automotive industry. Consumers are focusing on maintaining their current vehicles, opting for repairs and regular maintenance instead of upgrading to a newer model. For dealerships, this represents a significant loss in repeat business. Another notable trend is the erosion of loyalty to traditional dealerships. Pandemic-era price gouging left many consumers feeling exploited, driving them to seek alternatives. Online platforms, private sellers, and independent used car lots are gaining popularity, offering a more transparent and customer-centric experience. This trend underscores the growing distrust consumers feel toward dealership practices, creating a challenging environment for rebuilding relationships. Fallout from pandemic markups. The roots of the current crisis can be traced back to the pandemic, a period when demand for vehicles drastically outpaced supply. Dealerships capitalized on this imbalance by imposing significant markups, often adding $10,000 to $15,000 or even more to the manufacturer's suggested retail price. While this practice temporarily boosted profits, it inflicted lasting damage on customer trust, creating an undercurrent of resentment that continues to shape consumer behavior today. Many buyers who endured these markups have not forgotten. Feeling exploited during a time of global uncertainty and economic strain, they are now hesitant to return to dealerships that profited at their expense. The memory of being overcharged lingers, leading to declining foot traffic and a noticeable erosion in brand loyalty. Consumers are turning to alternative options such as private sales, online marketplaces, and direct-to-consumer models, leaving traditional dealerships scrambling to adapt to a rapidly changing landscape. For dealerships, the fallout has been both financial and reputational. Overstocked inventory, stemming from overly optimistic production forecasts, compounds the problem, forcing dealerships to offer steep discounts that are still failing to attract buyers. The once lucrative short-term gains from pandemic-era markups now seem like a Pyrrhic victory. Many customers remain skeptical, wary of being taken advantage of again, which further hampers efforts to rebuild trust. To recover, dealerships face a long and arduous road. Rebuilding trust will require not only competitive pricing, but also genuine efforts to improve the customer experience. Transparent pricing models, personalized service, and community engagement are just a few of the strategies dealerships must adopt to regain consumer confidence. However, given the scale of the damage, this process will be neither quick nor easy, as dealerships contend with a marketplace that has fundamentally shifted. The question remains, can they adapt fast enough to survive? The fragility of the franchise system. At the heart of the automotive sales network lies the franchise dealership system, a structure that has endured for decades. However, the system is now showing significant signs of strain. Unlike direct-to-consumer models employed by emerging automakers, traditional dealerships rely on third-party ownership, creating a layered system of costs and complexities. Franchise owners are responsible for purchasing inventory up front, often using loans tied to the vehicles they acquire. Each car parked on the lot represents a financial liability, as dealerships must pay interest on their unsold stock. This compounding cost, known as floor plan financing, is manageable during times of steady sales. However, when inventory piles up, as it has in recent years, the financial burden can quickly spiral out of control. The rigidity of the franchise model also limits dealerships' ability to adapt. Owners must comply with manufacturer-imposed standards, from showroom design to inventory levels. This lack of flexibility can be particularly damaging during downturns, leaving dealerships unable to scale back operations or diversify revenue streams effectively. Furthermore, the rise of online car buying platforms like Carvana and Vroom has exposed a critical weakness in the traditional dealership model. Consumers increasingly value the convenience of digital shopping, which eliminates the need for in-person negotiations and showroom visits. Dealerships that fail to integrate online sales into their operations are rapidly falling behind, highlighting the system's inability to keep pace with evolving consumer preferences. The role of inflation and rising costs. Inflation has been a significant driver of the current dealership crisis. Over the past 5 years, the costs associated with running a dealership, from employee wages to facility maintenance, have risen dramatically. At the same time, automakers have increased the manufacturer's suggested retail prices of their vehicles to offset their own rising costs for materials and production. These price hikes have had a cascading effect on consumers. A vehicle that might have been priced at $40,000 in 2019 now costs closer to $57,000. This is not just a nominal increase, but a substantial shift that affects affordability across all income brackets. Compounding this issue is the rising cost of financing. Average auto loan interest rates have surged to over 7%, further increasing the total cost of ownership. Dealerships, meanwhile, are caught in the middle. On one hand, they must justify higher prices to buyers who are already financially stretched. On the other, they face mounting operational expenses that eat into their profit margins. For many, the math simply does not add up, and the result is a growing number of dealerships operating at a loss. The situation is further complicated by the cost of technology in modern vehicles. Advanced safety systems, infotainment features, and hybrid or electric drivetrains have all become standard in new models, driving up production costs. While these features are marketed as benefits, they also push prices beyond the reach of many buyers, creating a disconnect between what manufacturers offer and what consumers can afford. Shrinking profit margins and staffing challenges. Profit margins in the dealership industry have always been slim, but recent developments have pushed them to the brink. Historically, dealerships relied on a mix of new car sales, used car sales, and service revenue to remain profitable. However, with declining sales of both new and used vehicles, the service department has become the primary profit driver for many dealerships. This shift has created its own set of challenges. Service departments require skilled technicians, a resource that is increasingly scarce. The automotive repair industry has faced a labor shortage for years, and the problem has only worsened as vehicles become more complex. Hybrid and electric models require specialized knowledge, and dealerships must invest heavily in training and equipment to keep pace. At the same time, sales teams are also shrinking. Many dealerships have reduced their workforce in response to declining sales, leaving fewer staff members to handle a growing workload. For employees who remain, morale is low. The commission-based structure that traditionally incentivized sales has lost its effectiveness as fewer customers walk through the doors. The combination of shrinking profit margins and staffing challenges has left dealerships in a precarious position. Those unable to adapt are being forced to close their doors, and the wave of closures is only expected to grow in the coming years. The impact of pandemic-era practices. The fallout from the pandemic continues to haunt the dealership industry. During the height of the crisis, inventory shortages led to inflated prices, with many dealerships adding thousands of dollars in markups to the manufacturer's suggested retail price. At the time, these practices were seen as a way to capitalize on high demand and low supply. However, this short-term gain came at a long-term cost. Buyers who felt taken advantage of during the pandemic are now hesitant to return to those dealerships. The damage to consumer trust has been profound, particularly for brands that allowed excessive markups on their vehicles. As the market has normalized, these dealerships are struggling to regain their customer base. Discounts and promotions are no longer enough to rebuild trust, as consumers remain wary of being exploited again. The reputational damage is particularly evident in online reviews, where dissatisfied customers continue to voice their grievances. Manufacturers, too, are feeling the effects of pandemic-era practices. Brands like Toyota, which historically enjoyed a reputation for reliability and affordability, now face backlash for allowing prices to rise unchecked. The loss of consumer goodwill is forcing automakers to rethink their relationship with dealerships, with some exploring direct-to-consumer models as a way to regain control over pricing and customer experience. The rise of online car sales. The automotive retail landscape is undergoing a seismic shift, and at the forefront of this transformation is the growing dominance of online car sales platforms. Companies like Carvana, Vroom, and Shift have disrupted the traditional dealership model by offering consumers an alternative to the often dreaded dealership experience. With just a few clicks, buyers can browse thousands of listings, secure financing, and have a vehicle delivered to their doorstep, all without stepping foot into a dealership. This shift toward online platforms represents a fundamental change in how vehicles are bought and sold. Traditional dealerships, with their sprawling lots and sales-driven staff, often cannot compete with the convenience and transparency offered by online alternatives. The appeal lies not only in the ease of purchase, but also in the ability to bypass aggressive sales tactics, which have long been a source of frustration for buyers. Additionally, online platforms often provide detailed vehicle histories, comprehensive inspections, and customer reviews, which instill greater confidence in the buying process. These factors have made online car sales especially popular among younger, tech-savvy buyers who value efficiency and convenience over tradition. However, this digital disruption is not without its challenges. Many online platforms face logistical hurdles, such as maintaining quality control and handling returns. Furthermore, the inability to test drive vehicles before purchase remains a concern for some buyers. Even so, the shift toward digital car sales is undeniable, and dealerships that fail to adapt risk becoming obsolete. Consumer demand for transparency. One of the most significant consequences of the digital revolution in car sales is the increasing demand for transparency. Buyers today have access to a wealth of information, from detailed pricing data to customer reviews, and they expect the same level of openness from dealerships. Historically, dealerships operated on a model that often obscured pricing and financing details, leading to prolonged negotiations and hidden fees. This lack of transparency has been a major driver of consumer dissatisfaction and has pushed many buyers toward online alternatives. In response, some dealerships are adopting a more transparent approach. Fixed pricing models, often referred to as no-haggle pricing, are becoming more common. By displaying clear and consistent pricing up front, dealerships aim to build trust and streamline the buying process. Moreover, dealerships are beginning to leverage technology to enhance transparency. Virtual showrooms, augmented reality tools, and online calculators for trade-ins and financing are helping to bridge the gap between the physical and digital buying experience. These tools not only improve transparency, but also create a more engaging and informative experience for buyers. Despite these efforts, many dealerships still lag behind in meeting consumer expectations. For dealerships to remain competitive in the digital age, embracing transparency is no longer optional, it is essential. The role of social media and reviews. In the age of social media, a dealership's reputation can be built or destroyed overnight. Platforms like Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram have become critical tools for consumer advocacy, allowing buyers to share their experiences with a global audience. A single negative review or viral post can have far-reaching consequences, forcing dealerships to reevaluate how they interact with customers. Positive reviews and testimonials are equally powerful. Dealerships that go above and beyond to provide excellent service can see their efforts rewarded through glowing online reviews, which often serve as a deciding factor for potential buyers. To capitalize on the influence of social media, many dealerships are investing in their online presence. From engaging social media campaigns to responsive customer service teams, these efforts aim to cultivate a positive image and attract a loyal customer base. However, the challenge lies in authenticity. Buyers are quick to detect insincerity, and dealerships that focus solely on damage control rather than genuine improvement risk further alienating their audience. In this environment, transparency, accountability, and a commitment to customer satisfaction are more important than ever. The decline of dealership loyalty. For decades, loyalty to a specific dealership or brand was a cornerstone of the automotive industry. Families often returned to the same dealership generation after generation, fostering relationships built on trust and familiarity. However, this dynamic is changing. One of the primary reasons for the decline in dealership loyalty is the increased availability of information. Buyers no longer rely solely on a dealership's word. They have access to third-party reviews, pricing comparisons, and detailed vehicle histories that allow them to make informed decisions. Additionally, the rise of online car sales has made it easier for buyers to shop around. Rather than being limited to local dealerships, buyers can now compare prices and options from across the country. This expanded marketplace has eroded the sense of loyalty that once kept buyers returning to the same dealership. The fallout from pandemic-era practices has also played a significant role. Price gouging, excessive markups, and aggressive sales tactics during the inventory shortage alienated many buyers, leaving them wary of returning to dealerships that took advantage of them during a time of need. To combat this decline, dealerships must focus on building genuine relationships with their customers. This means prioritizing trust, transparency, and excellent service over short-term profits. While loyalty may no longer be guaranteed, dealerships that adapt to meet the evolving needs of their customers can still cultivate a loyal following. Reshaping the dealership model. The traditional dealership model is being challenged like never before. For decades, dealerships relied on foot traffic, inventory-heavy operations, and localized marketing to dominate the vehicle sales landscape. However, these methods are rapidly becoming outdated as the industry shifts towards digital innovation and centralized control by manufacturers. The move to the agency model is one of the most notable changes. In this new structure, dealerships no longer operate as independent entities marking up vehicle prices to meet profit margins. Instead, they act as intermediaries between the customer and the manufacturer. Pricing, inventory management, and sales processes are dictated by manufacturers, ensuring consistency and eliminating unnecessary overhead. This model benefits buyers by reducing price variability and eliminating high-pressure sales tactics that have long been associated with dealerships. Moreover, dealerships are embracing technology to reinvent the customer experience. Virtual reality showrooms are becoming increasingly popular, allowing buyers to explore vehicle models and features from the comfort of their homes. Live consultations with sales representatives via video calls and AI-powered tools to match buyers with their ideal vehicles further streamline the buying process. Despite these advancements, the transition is fraught with challenges. Small and mid-sized dealerships already struggling with reduced margins may find it financially difficult to adopt these expensive technologies. Furthermore, the reliance on digital tools risks alienating customers who still value the personal touch of face-to-face interactions. Dealerships must find a way to merge the best of both worlds, leveraging digital innovation without losing the human element that builds trust and loyalty. The role of subscription models. Subscription models are rapidly emerging as a game changer in the automotive industry. For years, vehicle ownership was a symbol of stability and independence, but as car prices climb and urbanization increases, consumers are rethinking this model. Subscription services offer an alternative that combines flexibility, affordability, and convenience. A subscription model allows users to pay a monthly fee for access to a vehicle without the commitment of ownership. The fee typically includes insurance, maintenance, and registration, significantly simplifying the process for users. For urban residents who rarely drive or those who enjoy variety, this model is particularly appealing. Instead of being tied to a single car, subscribers can switch between models to suit their needs. From a compact electric vehicle for city commuting to an SUV for a weekend getaway. Manufacturers like Toyota and BMW are already experimenting with subscription services, and their success could redefine how vehicles are sold and used. For dealerships, this shift offers an opportunity to stay relevant. They can pivot to become hubs for vehicle subscriptions, managing the logistics of vehicle swaps, maintenance, and customer service. However, challenges remain. Subscription models often target higher-income consumers due to their monthly costs, potentially limiting their appeal to budget-conscious buyers. Additionally, the model raises questions about long-term profitability for dealerships. With fewer vehicle purchases and reduced service visits, dealerships will need to find alternative revenue streams to make subscriptions sustainable. Despite these hurdles, the growth of subscription services underscores a larger trend in the industry, the shift from ownership to access. This change represents a fundamental realignment of consumer priorities, and dealerships that adapt to this model could secure a competitive edge in the evolving market. Electric and autonomous vehicles changing the landscape. Electric vehicles and autonomous vehicles are not just technological advancements, they are redefining the automotive industry from the ground up. As governments worldwide push for stricter emission standards and sustainability becomes a global priority, EVs are rapidly gaining traction. For dealerships, this shift represents both an opportunity and a challenge. On the positive side, the increasing popularity of EVs opens up new avenues for dealerships to expand their offerings. Many consumers are still unfamiliar with EVs and hesitant to make the switch. Dealerships can serve as educational hubs, providing in-depth information about EVs, showcasing their benefits, and addressing concerns about range, charging infrastructure, and maintenance. However, EVs also come with unique challenges. Unlike traditional vehicles, EVs require less maintenance as they lack components like oil filters, spark plugs, and transmissions. For dealerships, this translates to reduced revenue from service departments, which have historically been a significant profit center. To offset this loss, dealerships may need to diversify their services, such as offering charging solutions, extended warranties for EV-specific parts, or even EV rental programs. Autonomous vehicles present an even greater disruption. As self-driving technology becomes more sophisticated, the nature of vehicle ownership could change entirely. Fleet operators, rather than individual buyers, may dominate the market for autonomous vehicles, reducing the demand for traditional dealership sales. Furthermore, companies like Tesla, which sell vehicles directly to consumers without a dealership network, are setting a precedent that could further marginalize dealerships. To survive in this evolving landscape, dealerships must embrace innovation, establishing partnerships with EV manufacturers, investing in specialized training for service technicians, and creating value-added services for EV and autonomous vehicle owners are just a few ways dealerships can remain relevant. The future is electric, and dealerships that fail to adapt risk being left behind. The financial realignment of dealerships. The financial health of dealerships has been under scrutiny for years, but the economic pressures of recent times have exacerbated these issues. Rising interest rates, increased operating costs, and shifting consumer behavior have left many dealerships struggling to stay solvent. One of the most significant financial challenges is the cost of carrying unsold inventory. Dealerships are typically required to finance their inventory through loans, incurring what is known as a flooring cost. This compounding interest adds up over time, and when vehicles sit on lots for extended periods, these costs can become crippling. In response, some dealerships are adopting just-in-time delivery models, reducing the need to hold large inventories. Others are collaborating with manufacturers to share the financial burden of unsold vehicles. These strategies not only alleviate financial pressures, but also align with the broader industry trend of minimizing waste and inefficiency. Diversification is another key strategy for financial stability. By expanding into areas such as fleet management, vehicle rentals, and aftermarket services, dealerships can create additional revenue streams. These ventures not only offset the challenges of declining vehicle sales, but also position dealerships as comprehensive mobility providers. The automotive industry is at a turning point, and dealerships stand at the forefront of this transformation as new technologies, shifting consumer preferences, and economic realities reshape the market. The traditional dealership model must evolve or risk becoming obsolete. What do you think the future holds for dealerships? Are we witnessing the end of an era, or will dealerships rise to the challenge and reinvent themselves? Share your thoughts in the comments below. We want to hear your thoughts on this pivotal moment in automotive history.